Hey y'all, welcome back to Lantern Creek Farm.
Alright guys, it is evening. It's after supper. It's about 9 o'clock. And we're going to start on a project that I've been needing to get done for quite a few days. I bought a bushel of apples. Andy's answering for me. I bought a bushel of apples last week, and we've got to get them worked up. So tonight we're going to peel, core, and start the apples in the process of sitting on sugar for the night into the morning. We are going to can the apples in sugar, and we're going to also can some apple jelly. These two are goofing off in here, y'all. That's why I'm looking this way. They're a mess. So anyways, y'all don't pay attention to the mess in the back of the kitchen. We got a lot going on. We got goldenrod that needs tending to. I'm going to have to put it up. And we got a bunch going on back here. We got a bunch of projects going on at one time. So we're going to grab the tomatoes, the apples back here, and we're going to go ahead and get them peeled and cored, like I said, and sitting on sugar. I'll explain more what's going on as we do it, but tonight our main objective is going ahead and getting these peeled and cored and then sat on sugar, and then like I said, we're going to make apple jelly as well. Might have to make this 2 parts. Apple jelly might be another video, so
we're going to get it done. I'm excited. I've never tried this before. They're Macintoshes.
Yeah, Andy, specifically the apples are Macintoshes. Andy is putting his 2 cents in where it's not wanted.
Yeah.
So Lakey's going to help Mommy in the kitchen this evening. Alright guys, we've got our apples here. I'm going to go ahead and clean them off because they are kind of dirty. Also, we're going to be saving the peels and the cores for apple jelly later on. And so I want to make sure that they're all, good and clean because we're going to be using the liquid off of them and cooking them down. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse what I've got in here so far, which is a pretty good amount. And we're going to, and I did buy a bushel of apples. We're going to work through these. Some of them are getting a few soft spots on them. This one's bruised and got some soft spots on it, so they are ready to be processed. I haven't had the time. I didn't have no time last week to do it, and so we're going to work through and get these done, guys. Alright guys, we've got a good amount washed here. It's filled my little bowl here. We're going to have Lakin on coring duty. She's going to use this peeler, and I'll do a video of how she's doing it. But we use this to core the middle of the apple out, and then I will peel the apple. I'm going to have her, she's going to core the apple. We're going to put the cores in one bowl and the peels in the same bowl or pot, and then I'm going to put the apples in another bowl. And so we're going to kind of make hopefully an assembly line here and get this figured out and work together.
Yeah, we need like 40 more of these.
Yeah, we don't have no fancy peeler and corer at the same time, and so we're doing the best with the tools that we have. It might take a little bit longer to do it, but it'll definitely be worth it. So let's get to work.
Yeah. Well, y'all, that cord it won't come out right.
Didn't come out?
No, it come out like that. I don't know why.
Because you went too close. That's okay.
Y'all, I'm just going to tell you.
I've done these. She hasn't done them yet. This is her first time doing this. You just want to get that core.
I thought got it.
A little bit closer.
But you can put them in there anyways. Y'all, I'm just going to tell you mistakes happen. Mistakes happen.
If you don't get it all out, just take that like this.
We'll put it in the
And
core
turn it
bowl.
around.
And then we'll put this
Alright, I'm going to show you one more time. So we're using this peeler here. What we do is you take your peeler, you get as close to the core as possible. You want to go around the top. And then flip it over and go around the bottom, like I said, as close to that core as possible. I've done a couple already. She hasn't done any, so that was her first one. Practice makes perfect, though.
Yep. And they say teamwork makes the dream work.
Mm-hmm. And you just go around that core, top and bottom, and then you should be able to just push it right through. There you
And
go.
then we have a bucket right here. We'll just lock them in.
And then kind of run that out. You don't have to. You don't have to do that part though, unless you left some of the core in. There you go. It's straight through.
And yeah.
And put those in that pot.
Just
All
like
right. There you go. She's gonna work on coring them. All right, guys. While she's coring, I'm peeling. And I'm putting these peels down in this bowl for now. But once I get the bowl full, I'll pour them down in that pot that she's putting our cores down in. And I'm just peeling them for now. After we get them all peeled and cored, I'll cut them up and put them in a big bowl or pot. I haven't decided, or pan. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to put them in once I get them all cut. But we're going to work through these.
I got the perfect core.
She's getting better. She's cored it twice now perfectly. Alright guys, I've got a pot here. Right here. And for now, I'm going to cut these apples up into this pot.
Now I put my apple in there.
This recipe that I'm using is from the channel Celebrating Appalachia. They're another Appalachian channel such as ourselves, except I believe they're in the Carolinas and we're in the Kentucky part of the Appalachian Mountains. I know it's late. It seems kind of goofy to be doing apples so late, but we really need to get through these. The ones in the bottom had some bruising and some soft spots on them, and so we don't want good apples to go bad because we don't have the time for them. So
This is the best core yet, guys.
she's getting better. Practice makes perfect.
And if there's just a little bit in there, you can take my tool and kind of...
What I like too about this is really nothing goes to waste. It's a good way to save as much of the apple and as much of the apple as possible. So what we're doing is we're taking the actual apple, we're going to soak it in that sugar, like I said, overnight. We're going to get up tomorrow and cook it down just a little bit. One cool thing about this recipe is where you soak it in the sugar overnight, the apples produce enough juice, so I won't need to add any water or anything like that to the apples. just allow them to soak overnight in that sugar, and they will create their own juice. So tomorrow when we can, we won't need to add anything besides the apples. And so we're going to get these pressure canned tomorrow. Celebrating Appalachia, I believe that she did them in a water bath canner. I don't have a water bath canner, and so I'm figuring it should be okay in the pressure canner. But we're going to pressure can them, and then we're going to take those peels and cores, and we're going to cook them down in a little bit of water and allow them to create juice.
They're plenty of
From,
juicy.
yeah, they are juicy, from the cores and the peels, and we're going to make apple jelly. Now I can eat apple butter, but I'm very particular about apple butter, and my husband Andy doesn't like apple butter. And so I thought that it would be neat to do apple jelly instead. And so you always want to make sure when you're canning to can stuff that you actually like. If you don't actually like something, there's no point in canning it because you're not going to eat it. And so we're going to can something new, which is the apple jelly, and see if we like that better than the apple butter. I've got about, I don't know, little less than half of this big pot filled up. I'm going to say that probably the next half is going to fill it up probably to these rivets here in the pan, maybe a little bit more. And then we'll put our sugar on them and let them sit overnight, get some water in this, and get it started cooking down. Alright guys, I got my helper back in here. We're finishing the last 4 apples right here. Has it been hard work, Boo Boo?
Mhm.
We've been working hard, but we're getting her done, finally. All there is to do left is finish peeling
And coring. I'm coring my last one right now.
and cutting these apples up. We'll get the sugar setting on these, and then we'll work on getting our juice boiled down.
Da da da. I'm officially done coring.
You are.
That's an accomplishment.
Don't run water down in that. If you would, just grab that pan and set it on top of the countertop there, sis.
This one.
Just, yeah, pick it up.
Where? Oh,
You can sit it over there. On the stove is fine too.
this is what your hands look like when you're peeling coring tomatoes.
Tomatoes?
Tomatoes. I mean, I can't tell tomatoes from apples at that point.
It's late. It's 10:30.
It's
So
10:30, guys.
we're getting tired, guys.
This is what my dress looks like. It's filthy. I forgot to put my apron on.
She didn't put her apron back on.
Ugh. I gotta go get some new clothes. I'm filthy.
Go change. Last one to peel. Oh.
It's been a good evening of work, but I can't wait till we call it quits. Our pan's full over here.
Yeah. Pan's full. I'm gonna have to smash that down pretty good in order to be able to get all of it to fit. I might have to move to 2 pots or a bigger pot. I think that's the biggest pot I got besides this one I've got apples in right now. Alright. I'm going to rinse my hands and then we'll move on to the next step.
Hi, dudes.
Alright guys, so we've cut up our half a bushel of apples here. I reread the recipe and it calls for 8 to 10 cups of sugar over top of the apples. We're going to let them sit overnight covered. So I've got my lid here. We're going to cover it up. I haven't put my sugar in yet. And then we've got our apples here. She said to put, she had a different pan than me, but she put about that much water around about that much water in her apples, and let them cook down on the stove. And so I cleaned up our countertop here, and we're gonna go ahead and try to get about that much water in here. I'm looking on the edge here to see about where we're at. Alright. Okay. Alright, we'll put this on the stove and we'll put our sugar in here. First, let's get this on the stove. Alright, I'm going to turn that kind of on low. I've got a lot more apples, peels, and cores than she did, I think. And so we're going to have to, it's going to be a while to get this to cook down. She had her apples, peels, and cores were kind of mushy. So I think what I'm going to do is put a lid on this, and just let that water and apple mixture just kind of cook down until we get quite a bit of juice. We're not going to waste the peels or the cores either. Once I cook them down, I'll put them in a bowl and we can take them for the chickens to munch on. They'll absolutely love this. So let's get this cooked down, and while this is cooking down with the lid on it, we'll move over to the apples and go ahead and get our sugar on the apples for the night. Alright guys, I decided against doing 10. I think I'm just gonna I did 8 instead of 10. And so I feel like that I'd rather add less now, and when I'm cooking them or get them out and I feel like they need more sugar, just adding sugar later than them being too sweet. Because these are really sweet apples. They're Macintosh. And so they're already really sweet anyways. So I figure 8 should be enough. And, well, it was about 7.5, a little over a half. But it took that whole canister, and I feel like that'll be enough. Because if they're not sweet enough now, we can always sweeten them later. So we're going to knock the sugar off of this, give it to the apples, and pop our lid on. Alright guys, we got our 7.5 or 8 cups of sugar in the pan. I'm going to sit it here on the countertop, or leave it, I got apple right there. I'm going to leave it on the countertop overnight. Now, like I said before, you do not have to add any water to this. So when we go to can it tomorrow, I'm not going to have to add any liquid. That's the point of allowing the apples to sit overnight covered, to allow the sugar to do its work and pull the juices out of the apple. Let this sit overnight, and we're going to juice the peels and the apples. But I think we're going to come back tomorrow and have a part 2. And I don't know if it'll be the next day for you all, but it'll be the next video, hopefully after this one, that you all will see. And so, like I said, we're going to let this sit. We're going to let that work down, and we'll come back at you. The sugar's already breaking down the apples, working its magic, as you all can see. Alright guys, I've been stirring the apples occasionally. And they're getting, can y'all see the liquid in them? They're getting liquid in them. We're going to continue to let them cook down. I got my masher as well, and I'm just kind of pushing them down in there. Alright guys, this has been cooking down for a while, and as you can tell, it's got quite a bit of juice in it. This is what's left of the peels and the cores here. They're getting really mushy. I could probably let this cook down a little bit longer, but to be honest, it's late, and I'm ready to get to bed. Now my problem is that there's so much liquid that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to drain it into. My bigger pan, I've got the apples in with the sugar, and so I'm going to have to figure out how I can strain this and get this stuff out and get the juice together. Pour it out in 2 different pans and then just put it back in here. I do need this to cool down so that I can put it in the refrigerator for the night. I'm going to finish and make the apple jelly tomorrow, along with hopefully canning it tomorrow and canning the apples and stuff. Ow, that was hot. Alright, let me take my masher here. I'm going to have to find something to put this down into. I'll refrigerate this as well, and give it to the chickens tomorrow. Alright guys, so that's the rinds left over. This pot is full to about here, and so the strainer, it's so much juice that the strainer sits down in it, so I'm having to strain back into the big pot. I went ahead and rinsed all the rinds and stuff out of it and tried to get all the big pieces and chunks and stuff out of it, because we're going to cook this down with our pectin to make jelly. This is a lot of juice. I'm debating whether I should cook this down more or just go ahead and call it good. It's quite a few cups of juice. The recipe that I watched from Celebrating Appalachia, she had a lot less juice than what I have, so I feel like I'm doing okay. On the other hand, I don't know, for whatever reason, I feel like I'm wasting if I don't get absolutely everything, but really, I mean, I've done conserved quite a bit already. And so, I don't really see it as, I mean, it'd be different if I wasn't trying to save a bunch of it. But I am, so. That's honestly quite a bit of liquid. I think I'm just going to call it right there. We'll go ahead and take all of this for the chickens to have. So we're not going to waste nothing. All of this is going to be used. Waste not, want not, guys. Right? I like recipes like this where, canning recipes where, you know, you're using as much as possible and not just throwing stuff out. So this would be perfect for the chicken. I'll put it in the refrigerator along with the juice that we have here. I'll have to see if this pan can fit in my refrigerator. We went grocery shopping here recently, so it's pretty full in there. If it don't, we'll pour it back in here. But it's filled to, it's hot, so I don't want to touch it. It's about right there. So that's a pretty good amount. This is a good, good size pan. It definitely is as full almost to the complete top of this. And so, pretty good. Give you all a little peek of the juice here. Alright guys, we're going to end this part right here. This is part 1, but I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and y'all come back for part 2. Of course, we will link this part on the part 2 video, and later on we'll link part 2 on the part 1. And so, anyways, we appreciate y'all watching. We appreciate y'all hanging out, and we hope that we can see you on the next one. We'll see you later. Bye.
Love y'all.